Migrainades. That's what pharmacist Susie Cohen calls the triggers that set off mind-blowing headaches. She can show how to avoid those triggers and how to cure a migraine without medicine. Take a look.
Best-selling author and pharmacist Susie Cohen has seen headaches of every kind up close. Her husband Sam suffered from them so much that he had to retire as a chiropractor. It's taken her more than a decade to figure out the best remedies and solutions to alleviate head pain. In her book, Headache Free, America's Pharmacist helps you uncover the hidden triggers of mind-blowing headaches.
Well, she's my favorite pharmacist, and she's written a book called Headache Free. I love the last one she wrote about all the terrible things that would be the thieves or the thefts or whatever they're called.
Drug muggers.
Yeah, all right, drug muggers. All right. Susie Cohen's with us, Headache. Susie, it's so good to see you. How extensive is this migraine problem in America?
It affects millions of people. And for most people, they just understand a headache. It's just something you take a pain reliever for and it goes away. But there's a subset of people, millions, that suffer with migraines or clusters or menstrual-related headaches, and they are very difficult to treat. The medications that we use for them don't help the underlying cause, which we are now learning has to do with motors or batteries deep inside the cell. It's not really about the blood vessels like we used to think.
What is a migraine? I mean, your technical definition of it. What is it?
Well, a migraine has a neurological component to it. It's not just mind-blowing head pain.
Yeah.
It has this effect where it can make you very sensitive to smells and to sounds. And some people see a halo or light, flashing lights. Some people throw up. And it can go on for days.
For days?
I mean, hours for the big part, but then they'll have this residual pain hours later and days later sometimes.
The typical thing, you take an Advil or you take a extra strength Excedrin, you take, those things actually have a reverse effect, don't they, after a while, some of them?
In some people, yes, and there's the drug nutrient depletion effect associated with those drugs. Just relieving the pain temporarily doesn't work for me. I always advise people to find the underlying cause, clear that up, find your migrainade, as I call it, get rid of your migrainade, and then life gets better.
All right, what are the migrainades? What are some of them?
Well, they're different for everyone. So I have a few here on the table.
All right, let's
for
get
some
a camera
people,
there. Go ahead.
it could be gum, because most gum contains an artificial sweetener. And artificial sweeteners and colors, these can trigger migraines in people.
Well, aspartame can sure do it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm an enemy of aspartame in every form, so all right,
Me
gum.
too, because it can harm the cell.
Okay.
And most people don't associate the gum that they're chewing with the migraine.
All right.
Perfume. 76% of migraine sufferers will react to perfume within a half an hour.
Whew.
So it may smell sexy to the person that's spraying it on, but it's a nightmare if you're a migraine sufferer.
Oh my goodness, okay. What
And
else?
dried fruit, another example, it contains sulfites, which can trigger a migraine. So people eating dried apricots and dried figs, this is a migrainade for them.
A migraine, that's terrible. Well, here's a nice little sandwich. It looks like a ham sandwich. What's that?
Double trouble on the sandwich, because the meat, the deli meat, can contain nitrites. It often does, and that's a migrainade. And the bread has gluten in it, and gluten has potent neurological effects on the body.
The nitrates, they cure hot dogs,
Yes.
deli meat, bologna, all that stuff. It's all cured with nitrates, and they all cause
Yes, in sensitive individuals. So just eliminating these migrainades from your diet. The last one is salad dressing, and you'll also see barbecue sauce. It contains vinegar. The vinegar is a migrainade because it raises histamine levels. Now, we all associate histamine with sneezing and itchy eyes and runny nose. We get that. But histamine can also trigger headaches.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've got that in, I thought vinegar was good for you.
Not if you're a migraine sufferer. It's
All right.
rich in histamine, and it can trigger migraines.
All right, well, let's go down the list. You've got some bottles of, these are the good things down here to my left. These things. What do you
I love simple. So a glass of water, it's so simple, it's cheap, pure filtered water. Because dehydration is a known migrainade for people. As soon as your body runs out of water, your blood volume drops. That reduces flow of oxygen and blood flow to your brain.
How much water should you drink?
I would drink several full glasses a day, but make sure it's, pure and filtered, not tap.
I filter water. I've got one of those big filter things that
I do
cranks
too.
it. Yeah, 10 gallons of a big
Yeah, a
tank.
Berkey filter is what I have.
Yeah. But why is that, by the way? I use it. Why am I using it?
Well, it's pulling out some of the heavy metals and some of the toxins that are found in the water, and some of them can actually grab some fluoride. I'm not a big proponent of fluoride at all. Fluoride can attack your thyroid, which we'll get to in a minute. And when fluoride attacks your thyroid from your toothpaste or tap water, low thyroid can cause migraines.
Oh, my heavens. All right, well, what are these other pills?
Okay, so magnesium is high on my list. This is Mother Nature's natural chill pill, and 50% of migraine sufferers are deficient in magnesium. So when you supplement with magnesium, you relax tense muscles, you feed the cells, you protect the cells, and it reduces your incidence of not just pain, but also
Actually,
migraines.
the filtered water takes the magnesium out of the water, though, doesn't it?
Then you need to supplement.
Let's make that clear. We're taking it on one hand, putting it back on the other. All right. How much magnesium you recommend?
I would suggest 400 to 600 milligrams of a total daily dose.
Wow.
And I know as soon as I say that, our viewers are thinking, magnesium, it gives me diarrhea. And I respect that. That's why you have to get high quality forms of magnesium.
Okay.
This particular brand contains a combination of chelated magnesium. It has magnesium malate, which is great for pain, and magnesium glycinate. It's a patented formula. So it's not going to cause the diarrhea, but it will feed and nurture the cells.
Well, what are the other little things here?
So the next supplement on my list would be riboflavin. We also know this as vitamin B2. It's a natural B vitamin that makes your urine bright yellow. People often ask, why is this happening? It's because of the B2. It's a natural dye.
A shortage of B2 could cause those cracks in the mouth and everything.
Yes, it can. You're so smart that you know that.
Well,
and it can,
everybody knows that.
Well, they don't know that it can help with migraines by feeding and nurturing the motors in our cells, the batteries that produce ATP. So riboflavin can reduce the frequency of migraines, but it doesn't always reduce the intensity, but it can reduce the frequency, and studies have shown this.
Okay.
The next supplement is quercetin, which is related to vitamin C, and that is a natural antihistamine. It reduces histamine that you get in your foods, like we talked about.
I take that bioflavonoid complex, the complete C, that has the quercetin in it, doesn't it? I think it does.
Yes, and if you had migraines, I would suggest that you take a little bit more.
I don't have migraines.
You don't want more?
I don't have headaches at all.
Lucky you, right? I know. They're devastating. When my husband had it, it changed our lives. It was very, very hard to handle.
You've got a thing in your book. Your husband was suffering so much he had to stop his practice, but it turned out that he had Lyme disease. Tell us about that.
Yes. So for him, his headaches were tied to this infection that he got from a tick bite.
Yeah.
And he didn't even know, because the ticks are toted around with your pets. And so until we treated his infection, the headaches wouldn't stop. We tried everything, painkillers, everything, outside the box treatment modalities, acupuncture, everything. And everything went a little teeny bit of a way to help him, but nothing really cleared it till we addressed the infection, which is an underlying cause for many people's headaches. Lyme disease is rather epidemic, and it's hard to diagnose.
Ticks everywhere. I mean, it's unbelievable. Our yard is crawling. You have to have the yard sprayed. You know, the deer come in, people, the deer got ticks.
Right, and we so lovingly spray our pets, but what does that do? The ticks will jump off the pet because they're repelled by the tick spray. And where do they go? Us, right? So it's very common. And then last on my list is a Thyroscript, which is a supplement I actually formulated.
Yeah.
I made that. And it protects the thyroid gland from gluten and dairy. And it also contains all the cofactors necessary to support thyroid hormone. When you optimize your thyroid levels, the migraines will often dissipate.
What about this gluten thing? Gluten sensitivity seems to be a big deal in making people. They make them fat, make them sick. What about
It can, yes. Gluten can affect people whether they have celiac or not. It affects the brain. It's somewhat addictive. It's just glue. You don't need it in your food. I often suggest for people to go gluten-free and preferably grain-free, completely grain-free and dairy-free, and their life can change.
Dairy and, I mean, what else is left?
Paper. You eat paper all day and water. No.
I can hardly wait.
Honestly, just clean grass-fed meats and fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, as long as those don't affect
This
you.
gluten is in all kinds of bread,
Yes, it's an
pastry.
additive. We have to change our mind. Gluten is an additive. We have to think of it that way, kind of like MSG.
Well, I stopped eating at Olive Garden because I'm sure they put MSG in the food, and you go out of there, you got headaches, you feel dizzy, you feel sleepy. It's just unbelievable.
Well, it could be some of the additives in the food. I would just avoid the bread and the sauce, you know, that yummy, delicious bread and sauce. But I like Olive Garden.
Oh, you do?
I do. I just don't eat the pasta. I like the salads.
Don't they put MSG in the food?
I don't think that they put it in everything, but
they?
you'll often find it in Chinese food unless they specifically say that they don't include it. MSG is another migraine. So basically, what our viewers can do today if they're suffering is, one, have hope, because if Sam could do it after years of suffering, he's lived headache-free now for about 7 years.
Praise the Lord.
He only gets one when I nag him.
Okay.
He doesn't get headaches anymore.
A nagging wife is one of those micro triggers or whatever.
Yeah. I'm a migraine, right? Right here.
Well, you know, this MSG thing, we showed soup, and we showed Camels, and we showed Progresso and some of them, and we put the labels on the ones that have MSG, and all of a sudden Progresso began advertising, we don't have any MSG in our soup. It was a big deal.
Wow, because they had to come back to that because people probably avoided their soup. So discovering your migraine is huge. If you could do that, you wouldn't need so many medications. So finding out what is
You're going out
the
to
trigger.
eat someplace. I mean, you have to ask them, I mean, what about this gluten stuff? I mean, they have a roll in a restaurant that has gluten in it?
Most bread has gluten in it. It is very, very hard to find gluten-free bread in commercial restaurants. But Outback and Carrabba's, they often do have a gluten-free menu. And if you're like me, you know, you just put some bread in a Ziploc baggie and you just
Take your own bread.
I put it in my purse. You'd be surprised what I whip out of my purse. It's kind of scary, the things I pull out of there.
But I mean, do the manufacturers understand that this gluten, they talk no more about gluten, but that this, what else does this cause? It's not just headaches.
It can cause all kinds of neurological disturbances, including an abnormal gait. Like you'll walk and bump into walls. It can cause dizziness and headaches. It can cause bloating, constipation.
Gluten?
Gluten, yes. And I'm a big advocate of probiotics. Probiotics will not offset the gluten. What I would recommend for people with digestive disorders is to go off the gluten, go off the dairy, take probiotics and digestive enzymes.
When you say dairy, you're talking about cheese, you're talking about milk, you're talking,
You want me to leave now?
Oh,
I'm so
Susie,
sorry.
The Swiss are going to rise up against you. What?
I would say that if you have sinus headaches, sinus headaches will respond to going dairy-free.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yes.
that's the tip of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a terrific book. It is more scientific than the other book. You've got a lot of science in here. It's
It is.
pretty
You know why
technical.
I did that? Thank you for bringing that up. It is a complex book.
Yes.
You're not going to find a lot of books on Amazon that address headaches. In fact, I'm sold out on Amazon, by the way. So if anyone wants it, they have to come to my website, which is susiecohen.com. But my point is that you're not going to find a lot of books on headaches because they are hard to tackle because the etiology, the cause of each headache is different. But I've tackled that. And in a nutshell, I'm saying that migraines and headaches in general aren't always to do with a change in brain chemistry. They're not always to do with a change in vasculature, the blood vessels around the head. I'm saying that it goes much deeper into the mitochondria, the little batteries of our cells. Those are sick and dying because of migraines. And when you can clear that up, the batteries of the cell will get healthy and the headaches will become reduced
So
in frequency.
the mitochondria will be
Reset.
reset because
Yes.
of this? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's an interesting book. If you've got these problems and you've got a migraine, you're there with lying on the sofa with a cold compress on your head. You want this, so this is something. But they're sold out on Amazon. So you got to go to Susie Cohen to get it?
Yeah, SusieCohen.com. I sold out. I don't know.
Well, why don't
People
you-
love it. And leave me a nice review because I worked really hard, and this goes against the medical system.
well-
They want to prescribe triptans and addictive analgesics, and I'm saying to you that that is not the answer.
Okay. Well, you are terrific. Susie Cohen, ladies and gentlemen, and it's so popular it's sold out at Amazon, but you can get it through SusieCohen.com. And I'm sure Amazon's going to restock because they like to make the money.
That's true, they do. They
God
take a
bless
big
you.
chunk.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right.